This is Brian Schwartz from the Central Coast Writers Conference, which this year is Saturday, October 5th, 2024. We hope to see you out at Cuesta College. We are doing a set of these previews with the great speakers we have, and one of them is Margie Valine. Margie is an audiobook narrator from Shell Beach, California. She is going to be there teaching a session with Jim Siebert. And Margie, why don't you share a little bit about what you plan to talk about at the conference?
Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. I plan mostly to talk about what it takes to become an audiobook narrator and how, as an author, you can get your book published into an audiobook, and the cost, possibly the cost involved, and what you need to keep in mind when you're looking for an audiobook narrator. There's so many different ways to go about it. There's free ways to go about it. There's cost ways to go about it. But what you need to do is figure out what is easiest and best for you. It takes a lot of work for someone to be an audiobook narrator. There are many authors who have narrated their own audiobooks. It is something that I think is very important for you to consider both sides of the coin when you're looking at that, and realize that if you hire an audiobook narrator, the important thing is to keep your communication open with that narrator, but also trust that narrator, because that's their job, is to bring your book to life, whether it be fiction or nonfiction, memoir, romance, whatever it is, historical. They have the ability, because they are trained and they take classes and they keep up on their craft. And that's what's important, is that they know what they're doing. And if a good audiobook narrator is going to make sure that they keep open communication with you too. So
yeah, and I often tell authors, don't format your book if you haven't looked at a lot of books, especially like when it comes to an ebook. And I would say the same thing is, don't attempt to do an audiobook unless you've listened to lots of audiobooks and you understand kind of the quality that's expected. I also know that a lot of audiobook narrators, the professionals, they invest in the right equipment. So you'll be talking a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to sit at your kitchen, table with a USB mic into your phone or your iPad or your laptop, whatever it is you're doing it to, because there's just way echo throughout. You're going to get the horns beeping on the street outside. You need to be in a place that's going to have a dead sound and doesn't bounce around all over the place. So, and the microphone makes a big difference.
So the other thing is just tricks of the trade, or sort of the resources. I know you're going to touch on some of those, but you don't necessarily, I think that the danger I see with authors is there's no shortage of information and people selling courses and information on how to do this.
Right.
But these aren't necessarily taught with the author's best interest in mind. This is typically the course creators is the one that benefits. And Absolutely. So I think talking to someone like yourself who's actually in the business, knowing what is really going on, as opposed to someone who's just teaching others how to do it. And I don't know if you want to comment on that. There's no shortage of YouTubers teaching
Right.
people how to do this, but it's not necessarily right.
Right. Believe me, if you go onto YouTube, you'll see a ton of things about how to narrate your own audiobook. But honest to goodness, if you really want to narrate your own audiobook, please do the research past YouTube and look at who is like the most prolific audiobook narrators out there, and then find out through their websites, through their courses, because they do teach what they offer and how they offer it, and what they say about an author narrating their own audiobook. I mean, look at Sean Pratt, look at Johnny Heller, look at Scott Brick, look at Barbara Rosenthal, look at Julie Whalen. There's just so many authors and narrators out there that have fabulous careers that can really help an author know whether it's right for them to narrate their own book or to hire someone that they want. And to look at the cost, because there is a big cost. And if you're self-publishing, that's a whole other, that's a whole other.
Yeah, a lot of do's and don'ts in that realm. You can burn through a lot of money very quickly.
Absolutely.
And not necessarily have a product at the end that you're even very happy with, and going down the again, just the experience path. So Margie, I'm very pleased to have her there. She's going to be there with Jim Siebert, as I mentioned. And I love having, all right, Jim Siebert, if you know anything about him, he's like pretty far down the experience route. He's done over 100 audiobooks. and he announces for the San Luis Blues. I mean, the guy is pretty prolific. And great to have people like that at the event. But I also love to have people who are earlier in their career, like yourself, not beginner by any means. You've been studying this for a long time, but you are in the trenches trying to make a name for yourself. And I think that makes you far more relatable to the average person who's probably going to be at the conference.
Yeah, at this point, I am definitely not living off of my income from audiobooks.
You'd be lying if you did say that,
I
right?
would be,
Yeah.
but at this point, I love doing what I do, and I want to be able to bring those stories to life with any type of story. I love doing them. I mean, I've done historical romances, I've done memoirs, I've done science fiction, so it's fun. It's fun creating those characters, whether it's a real life character or not. So I enjoy it
All
a
right.
lot.
Well, everyone, I appreciate, Margie, I appreciate it and look forward to having you there. For the rest of you guys, if you haven't registered yet, head over to centralcoastwritersconference.com. Still got a little bit time to go. We're less than a month out. So get registered now and you won't regret, you won't miss out. So thanks again. Thanks, Margie.
Thank you. Bye.